Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome to Urban Strife. This is The Walking Dead kinda style zombie survival role-playing game that will be entering into early access on the 10th of December. I have been given early access to, well, the early access version, I do suppose, by Microprose, who are publishing the game. During early access, the game will receive the usual content updates and the majority of the story, as only part 1 of the story will be available upon launch, with the rest being added later on. The story so far is that you begin as a survivor, your self-insert hero main character here, and he has a special trait called immune. He is infected, but he does not care about it. He is, like most proper protagonists in zombie universes, immune to the taint of it. And no doubt, the CDC, who were attempting to rush yourself out of Atlanta before it fell to zombie hordes, were trying to find some way to make that into a vaccine against the virus. Probably not a cure because, rotting, walking human corpses feasting on raw flesh and all that, but still, immunity is pretty nice. And after getting into a car crash, you are rescued by Kaylee here, who becomes your first companion. Over the course of the game, you will recruit further characters as you build up your shelter. The shelter will need to survive various threats like lack of food, for example, lack of medicine, lack of recreational activities, and eventually the bad things will be getting closer. The horde that overran Atlanta will soon be a far more pressing problem for you than merely just food, but, well, starving to death will kill your ass just as easily as a zombie will, so you've got to take it all into consideration as you wander the world trying to get deals and understandings with the various factions you can find there. The main three at the moment are the army, the bikers, and the cultists, whom we are currently engaged with. You see, you get this interesting little lore blurbs here as you can unlock parts of their backstory and documentation as you play. In this case, it is the cult of John Saint. So, the Saint brothers infiltrated the infected patients that caused the courthouse hospital to be overrun by zombies by luring terminally ill people with the promise of treatment. See, we had contacted Jennifer Saint here from the courthouse. Well, she had apparently locked a whole bunch of innocent civilians within the hospital, and then zombies had appeared. Well, clearly she's the bad woman. Actually, as it was revealed later on, the zombies, well, they were caused by infected people being introduced into the genuine stream of sick and injured that Saint herself took in. Now, Saint is not exactly a saint, haha, if you forgive me either, as she did lock a whole bunch of healthy people in there with the zombies, but this is what I kind of like about this already. There seems to be a certain degree of moral grey area to the various factions here. But let's not get too deeply into the story just yet, because, well, you might want to experience that for yourself as well. So instead, let's talk a little bit about general gameplay and the world we are in. So, as mentioned, the cultists I consider to be relatively bad people, frankly. Now, you do actually have special powers to be able to talk, at least in part, to the zombies, so you could join with the cultists, or the bikers, or the army, and create alliances with them, or try to balance them all out, play them out against one another. But I don't like the cultists, so I am going to declare war on them first and foremost. In this supermarket, we've probably got a fair few hostile zombies, I would wager. So let's try and set up a fight here, shall we? Now, you can hold down Alt, and you can kind of see on the map here, you can see the little eye symbols. That eye symbol indicates that if I go over there, I am going to be spotted by all of the bad guy zombies, which I don't really desire right now. So, we are going to sit right over here, and we are going to initiate proceedings, perhaps with an aerosol bomb. I might be a little bit too far away, as the lobbing there's going to be a problem. Maybe a nail bomb from a little bit closer up. Yeah, a nail bomb would catch a decent amount of them, actually.
Moving quietly.
Now, let's make sure we've got some sort of kind of free lines of fire here, and we'll initiate proceedings with a good old-fashioned nail bomb. Once you initiate combat, interesting, you switch over to a turn-based mode, as I elected to toss my nail bomb apparently through the window. Huh. And then now this becomes passable. Nice. So you do have some destructible environments, as you can see here. And when you're fighting zombies, you can choose what to shoot at. So if I click shift here, you can choose a target. This is a very cool idea, and against zombies, obviously, you want to be shooting at the head whenever possible. Although I would like to see a little bit more effect when it comes to what you are shooting as by and large, I find it simply just shooting them in the head is the only real choice, and shooting them anywhere else feels a little pointless. So we've got a decent shot here with Kaylee and her 22 rifle, so we're gonna take it. Hit the left hand, did diddly-dick nothing. Another one, hit the torso, that did a bit more. And now we've used up our action points. You can see we have 10 action points per shot, and then you have the total amount of action points right down there. Billy Bow is in a little long range. I'll send off one shot, but no more for now. I want to keep his action points a little bit free. We're going to switch over to a melee weapon and set up an overwatch here, in case any zombies come wandering by. I would really like to take down that cultist, though. There we go. As he, of course, has a ranged weapon, which I disapprove of. Right. We don't have a great chance at hitting anything particularly vital amongst all of these other guys. You do not get shown a percentage, at least not with the gear I have now. So you can see that the green simply means that I've got a good chance of hitting the torso. I'm not going to spend any further of my ammo on this right now. I'm just gonna put one more quarrel in my crossbow.
Reloading.
And that'll be it. Now, Lucy Lee here. I will give her a shooting order, just in case a cultist pops around there and tries to charge my ass or something. And once you are happy with your moves, you click the button up here to end your turn. All of your characters act at the same time, and then all of your enemies act at their same time. There is also a nice little herding mechanic in the game that means that if you are fighting against a bunch of zombies, they don't each move one by one by one, which would probably be rather infuriating, frankly. Instead, they all move simultaneously. However, their movements can also be activated individually. So, say that you're fighting against a horde of 12 zombies, right? And you've got a couple characters that have been spotted. You could potentially throw a flashbang behind the horde to maybe lure away a couple of zombies. So whilst they move like a group, they are not completely bind together as a group. So you can still do a little bit of tactics against the individuals there. And knock that over the head with a rolling pin, and since we're at point-blank range, boom. Nice and simple, and that gives me enough action points for another one. Boom. As your chance to hit, of course, is drastically increased by the enemy being, well, literally right in goddamn front of you. Yeah, unsurprisingly. Phew.
Gun has no more bullets.
Nice and simple. Now, in case anybody else decides to pop their ugly heads around that corner, I'm going to set up another couple overwatches there, just in case, as I'm fairly certain there's going to be more than just that in here. Oh, yeah, there goes the other cultists. Now, he didn't quite wander into my range there, so one of the complaints I absolutely do have is that the AI is, well, way too good or way too AI-y, depending upon your general interpretation of things. See, the AI, let's see, can I maybe, damn, a little bit too far there, hey? The AI has this habit of moving to just within range and then doing its stuff never any further, because the AI knows exactly where you are at all times. At all times. And the AI doesn't really seem to take into consideration a lot of concealment beyond smoke, which you can build smoke bombs, for example. I have had a time when I had one of my characters around a corner, basically, sneaking up on a bunch of guys. So my other people were over here, like, shooting at them, and I had one character over here around a house corner, only for a drunken moonshiner, the literal name of the character, to turn around, run back, and toss a Molotov cocktail around the corner of the building towards the crouched down ally, setting her on fire and killing her instantly. That was Kaylee there. So, yeah. This also has a bit of a problem in that the AI seems to, since it always knows exactly where to move, it also always knows exactly how far to move to get to you and start attacking and no further. This is a problem because, unlike you, the AI doesn't really have a problem with ammunition or any of that nonsense. It doesn't really concern itself with, you know, the fact that there's a zombie apocalypse coming and they need to deal with the fact that there's hordes of zombies, so they can't just simply fire off all of their ammunition willy-nilly. You've got to strategize. The AI does not need to strategize. And so whilst it is sit happily perched at maximum range, as I miss everything,
Understood.
plonking away at you, if you simply choose to engage the enemy at its own maximum range, well, you're going to waste a lot of ammunition, as your weapons, at the moment being very, low-powered weapons, have diddly-dickle chance of hitting anything at all beyond point-blank range. The enemy, again, doesn't really care about that because, well,
Copy.
it's got infinite ammo, in essence. It doesn't need to... Okay. XCOM! By the way, the game claimed to have one of its primary inspirations be XCOM, which... Yeah.
What?
I can see it, let's just say. Also, I'm a little bit confused as to how I can't see you just yet. I really need to kill you because you're like... Well, never fucking mind. That was what, 4 or 5 shots at... Hey, it's a wonderful demonstration, if nothing else, of what I mean with your weapons are completely and utterly painfully inaccurate at anything beyond nuzzling the barrel of the weapon up against their skulls and pulling the trigger. Now, this is presumably something that will change as you eventually gain access to, weapons with scopes on, for example, and stuff like that. But at the moment, as you can see, if you're trying to shoot at anybody without literally pressing the barrel of the weapon up against their heads, you're quite likely not going to have a tremendous amount of success. Ah, there we go.
Can't do that.
Finally. Okay, well, you're wounded now, so your hit points have been decreased, which is somewhat unfortunate.
All right.
Come on, Billy. There we go. Thank gods.
Ready.
Right, let's tie up Lucy Lou's wounds, which are currently bleeding. This again makes it so that the enemy that is sitting at max range, plonking at you. Oh, the game has decided that I am no longer in combat.
Yep.
Interesting.
Copy.
I figured the zombies over there might have something to say about that, but it turns out, no, not really.
Copy.
Right, well, in that case,
Yup.
Here.
I think it's time for that. Oh. Never mind then.
Yes.
Oh, if you want to go over there, I don't necessarily mind. Let me just
Okay.
go in there and stab this guy before he wakes up. It can feel a little bit frustrating because you don't have a good way of closing the distance beyond using smoke grenades, and that's, of course, using yet further valuable resources on dealing with an enemy that doesn't feel like it has the same constrictions and restraints placed upon it as you do. That is a little bit annoying to me. All right, where did those little zombie bombies go?
You need me?
Yep.
Another little complaint I have is the system of shooting.
Locked and
Now,
loaded.
you might have seen against that guy right there that parts of his body were more difficult to hit than others. This is because he was, well, literally in cover with those parts. If you've got a character that is standing over here, for example, then the left part of that character's body will actually be more difficult to hit than the character's right part of their body. Now, that is a really cool little touch because, well, obviously, of course, if the left part is covered by a shelf, but the right part is not, then obviously it would be easier to hit the right part of their body. That's really nice, and it works quite well with the cover system. Again, I just wish I had weapons a little bit more, you know, long-range effective. Alright, let's switch out to that club again for you.
Discreet and silent.
And we can begin clobbering these little guys. Let's see how lucky I get. Yay! Very lucky, in fact. And you may also notice the crossbow is silent. Yes, indeed. There is a difference between that as well. If you start firing your pistols, then the nearby zombies will start getting very aggressive. Not as aggressive as I might have hoped, frankly, as, well, I was firing guns right over here, and the zombies down there didn't seem to hear anything. During the tutorial, the game kind of warns you, like, oh, be careful. If you bring guns, that might cause all kinds of a ruckus, and the zombies will come running. Dealing with one zombie is easy, dealing with a horde is hard. And it feels like it's a bit too hard to attract a zombie horde. There should probably be some sort of a spawning system, perhaps, where if you start creating a lot of noise, the zombies will obviously hear that lot of noise and start moving towards it. Perhaps something like a combat countdown timer, like if you get into a firefight there with the enemy, then there's a chance that other zombies nearby might hear that and come wombling over looking for food, looking for something to investigate. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not too terrible of a number. I can deal with that. I'll move you up there, Kaylee, and we're going to put you into Overwatch mode. Billy Bow, we shall do the same with you. There we are. And Arch, simply conserve your ammo for now for some headshots. I would also like to see for the aim to have a little bit more effect, because right now, the primary purpose of the aim is to...
All right.
I mean, technically that was another silent takedown, so I guess. The zombies could definitely use a lot... Oh.
Bullet slow.
Well, that wasn't what I was aiming for, but I'll take it. The zombies could definitely use a little bit more in the way of aggression, definitely, as they are quite casual about you shooting at them, even at very, very close ranges. Bap. Bap.
Yep.
And I imagine there's going to be a lot more zombies later on, which might make this more pressing, shall we say. But at the moment, the zombies are not much of a threat at all. Yeah, hopefully that might even be the game lulling you into a bit of a false sense of security.
Copy.
It's like, oh yeah, don't worry about the zombies. The zombies are silly and slow and can easily be murdered en masse. And then you run into the first group of like 50 of them, and suddenly things get a bit more complicated. But to return to the point about the aim system. Currently, there doesn't seem to be a system that allows you to affect that many things on the enemy, like properly crippling them. Shooting somebody in the arm, for example, doesn't seem to make them drop their weapon, which you'd think maybe it should. It doesn't seem to... Maybe it does on the back end, but their accuracy doesn't seem to drop all that much. But again, the accuracy of everyone seems to be absolute garbage, so it's kind of difficult to tell. But maybe have it a bit more of a risk-reward, because... in most games like these, when you have limited resources, the obvious option is always to kill the enemy. There are very few scenarios in which it is preferable to wound the enemy over killing them, unless you make wounding them really crippling. Say, for example, maybe some sort of a capture system. Is there 500 zombies on the toilet? I hope not, because that would be... thank God. Maybe a capture system of some sort where you can trade captive people back to their factions for increased renown or for money, resources, something. Some rationale for why you would like to not kill someone and just injure them instead. That would be interesting. You're a bit overloaded, but that's fine, Billy Bo. We're more or less starting to get done here. As, of course, after the fight, you can run around looting everything. I'd also like if the light things up thing was a little bit more strident than it currently is, as I have kind of a hard time telling what exactly is and is not lootable. And as you loot, you will find various things, like, for example, relaxation drugs or clean water, with this little icon up here indicating what it can be used for by your camp.
Sure.
Obviously, your camp is going to need food, but it is also going to need recreational stuff. It is also going to need medicine stuff.
All right.
And getting a hold of all of the medicines and the recreational stuff you need is the primary purpose of the campaign, at least this early on. A little Project Zomboidy, but I would have liked maybe a greater variety in stuff you could find, a bit more stuff lootable, maybe make you, worry a little bit more about the pack mule aspect of things would be kind of nice. But yeah, a reason to injure people is absolutely something I would like for them to look into. And it needs to be a big deal, by the way. It can't just be something little, but like a 10-15% decrease in aim or something, because if that's all, well, I'm just gonna shoot the guy in the head instead and kill him. Like, okay, I could reduce his aim by a small amount, or I could just kill him. And there will be very few circumstances in which just killing him will be the inferior option, obviously. Ooh. Now, looting, too. I would like to see more looting of more stuff and more items and more inventory management. Maybe the ability to bring a car. Now, there was a car in the survival shelter, so I'm presuming that you will eventually be able to bring a vehicle as well. As half of the fun of a game like this is looting stuff. It's loot gobbling, all of those wonderful things that you and your friends are going to need to survive. Maybe even something like, again, taking prisoners would be very cool. Trading them for resources, that would be very nice. It might also give you the need to actually watch over them and bring them back to your base. Perhaps interrogating them, turning them to your side, recruiting them, stuff like that. Or maybe even just simple, really large debuffs. Shoot a guy in the leg, and if his leg is disabled, he can't stand anymore, which would be very good against melee enemies. Or have it so that if you shoot them in the hand successfully, they drop their weapon, and they've got to spend a whole turn to pick it up, because that might actually be worth it, as the primary reason for why you would want to kill an enemy as quickly as possible is, of course, to make it impossible for him to hurt you. And if making him drop his weapon will do that, well, that might, in certain instances where it is easier to hit his hand than his head or his torso, as demonstrated by the cover system, be a very useful thing. We'll finish up loot goblining here, and then we will have a look. Oh, hi. Hello. Good evening.
Yep.
Yeah, again, this is a zombie apocalypse, so there will be zombies, surprisingly enough. Right, Arch, you move out of the way, and let Kaylee get in your path there. Ah, right, this is one other little complaint I have. You can't stab around corners.
All right.
Slightly weirdly enough. So if you set up like this, the zombie actually has to get to that spot before you can attack it, but the zombie can actually attack you from that spot. This spot here, which is very difficult to cover with a melee weapon. In here, we don't necessarily need one. Plonk. Plonk. Yay! Good job, Billy Bo. Good job.
Copy.
Right, and for you, we're just gonna set up a Overwatch shot fairly close in and
Roger.
hope that that'll be enough to deal with you. We don't want to take too many chances with the zomboodles, of course, because, infection and all of that nonsense is kind of terrible. So I'll set up a double Overwatch to make sure that this one doesn't get too close. A 2 to the torso. Surely Lucy Lou's got the rest. Oh, come on. Fail me not now, little Chinese woman. You are indeed failing me. Ah, but he dodged. Good. Right. Back with the kitchen knife again. And stab. There we are.
Yep.
Sure.
Was there even anything in here? Yes, there you go. Loot gobbling is fun and engaging. Everyone loves loot goblining. Everybody loves loot goblining. There is nobody who doesn't like loot goblining. Oh, more stuff. Ooh. Well, my commune is hungry. There are also debuffs, of course, that you can, build up over time. If your group is injured, their health will decrease. They've also got a bit of an interesting injury system, where you see that Billy Bow here, for example, his green health bar is not full. The reason... Hello.
Understood.
Here.
Good evening there. Let me just pop one in the head. Well, close. Come on. There we are. Nice and simple.
Got any plans?
Sure.
His health bar has not fully refilled, even though I bandaged him. That's because your health is more of a slowly regenerating resource, so that when you get wounded, even if you heal that wound with a quick little field dressing, that is not going to bring the wound back to full again. You've fixed the immediate problem, as in leaking Vita all over the floor, for example, but that doesn't mean that your arm is back to full functionality immediately, so that health bar will slowly replenish over a period of time. Scavengers? Now, why would there be scavengers out here? Now, this also
Copy.
makes me a pinch
All
worried
right.
that there might be more
Copy.
scavengers, right?
Yes.
Fall back
Ready.
there for a little
Yup.
Yep.
Copy.
second. That you might be having
right.
friends. As there are other people out there who want all of those delicious resources as well. Like I said, everyone loves loot goblining, and that includes the AI.
Copy. Yep.
Right.
Yep. All right.
Now the question is,
Yes, dear.
where?
Ready.
You've also got to be very careful when you engage things, because if your hero dies, you just die. You just lose the campaign right in there. It's over immediately. And seeing as a single Molotov can kill you, or a single hit to the head can kill you, you want to be
Ammo running out.
very, 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 very careful in these engagements. Fortunately, your opponents are about as bad at aiming as you are, thank God. Well, hi there.
All right.
Oh, two of you too, boy. Okay, well, let me just nuzzle up behind you and plunk. And run back there, I
Copy.
think.
Roger. Sure.
Oh, a whole scavenging party, it seems. Jesus. Right, all of them sitting around the corner waiting for me. Tough scavengers as well, as it turns out. Heavens.
Let's go.
We're gonna be a little bit risque here. Because I'd really like to kill off that one. Oh, they have Overwatch of their own, and they will use a lot of it. Oh, she's got a shotgun. Yeah, definitely want to kill off that one then, because, yeah. And I am fully aware of the fact that I've left myself open to be flanked here, but I really don't want to let the one with the shotgun right in front of my poor little Kaylee stay alive, so... Boom.
Understood.
We're gonna get a little bit more distance, and we're gonna bring
Yep.
Billy Bob up here as a nice living shield. And pop her one in the chest as well. Nope, no cigar. She is now on fire, so she should be running around for a little bit without doing too much damage to me. The AI is very good at seeking cover as well, and again, I feel like the AI could use a little bit more... how do I put it? Context? Like, a bunch of scavengers, for example,
Yes.
should probably be pretty
Copy.
bad at this whole fighting stuff. Probably be using very low-quality weapons, very low-quality
let's go.
tactics. They probably should
Understood.
not, for example, all stack up around a corner and
Understood.
sit there and be like, hey,
Roger.
let's just wait here until they poke around it, for example. Well, I missed.
All right. Copy.
I would also really like it, as currently, it shows you how much AP it will take to go to a spot, but it
Understood.
does not tell you how much AP you will have left
Copy.
when you
All
get to that spot. See, I don't really care about how many AP
Yep.
point it takes me to get over there. That is largely irrelevant, if I'm to be entirely honest. But what I do need to know is how many action points I've got left when I actually get to that spot. Because that's what determines if I can, you know, fire a weapon or something. Oh, Jesus, there really are. The AI also has this nasty habit of remaining at maximum range all the time. Again, probably because it has a lot of ammo, you don't. Jesus.
Understood.
Take you down.
Copy. Okay.
Tempting, but
Running low on ammo.
probably should have gone for it. Can't throw anything,
All right.
Lucy. I'll just hit him in the torso. As you wound them, they do drop their action points. So even injuring them is not pointless.
All right.
But that, if anything, only again sort of, I feel like, decreases the usefulness of shooting them in the legs or arms and so on. Like, this AI is sitting at max range firing at a shotgun with practically no chance of hitting. Because, again, it knows that its primary purpose here is to try and screw you over just a little bit. You know, deplete a little bit of resources. In this case, with shotguns like these, I feel like what they should do is just either rush blindly towards you, really, or fucking flee. As they're not really in a good position.
Here.
Yup.
Let's put a Overwatch on that character
Reload
right
done.
there. And another Overwatch.
Ready.
Copy.
That'll interrupt her
Alright.
if she tries to come around and shoot me. And we're gonna just... Can I
Here.
maybe... I can probably... Can I? I cannot flank her from that. I can't climb this for reasons unbeknownst to me.
All right.
Nor do I think I can shoot her from here. Not gonna leave there.
Let's
Okay, I was
go.
hoping... Oh, yep. A boarded up window. Fair enough. Come on, have a peek. And now that she has willingly exposed herself... I do like this, by the way. The ability to kind of, like, pin people down by shooting at their cover is a very nice touch. I wish there was, like, suppressing fire, perhaps. Like, specifically, maybe you have an area, and if they don't trigger it, you shoot regardless, and that shooting regardless causes some sort of morale effect, perhaps. That'd be kind of nice.
Copy.
Tempted to rush her ass, but it would be
Yep.
another
Yep.
sad waste of resources, so we shall not do that.
Understood.
Instead, we shall get closer
Copy.
and put more cover on her.
Gun ready.
All right.
Make it exceedingly dangerous for this person to peek around the corner.
Yep.
And since she's just got a shotgun, I feel relatively safe in going out over here, and I can cover her again the next turn. Bop. The cover system is quite nice. I do like the cover system quite a bit. Since it rewards you specifically for exposing certain parts of your body like that, that's a very nice touch.
Roger.
Right, Kaylee. Would you be so kind as to finish off our little scavenger friends here? Much appreciated.
Quiet.
And hey, more freebies.
Moving hidden.
Everybody loves the loot goblin. Although I am currently snapping my own spine under the weight of stuff, so it is probably getting to be time to head back to base.
What?
A little bit too heavy for my own good. Right, let's transfer over some
right.
stuff here to my other characters. The UI system... Oh, yeah, I should probably
Copy.
bandage. Actually, you know what? I don't really need to worry about that.
Moving in.
The minutiae minute HP loss from
Got any
bleeding
plans?
is actually not that big of a problem. The UI system is... It could be better, and yet it's also kind of nice. You do have a crafting system where you can craft things like arrows or bombs from the various things you pick up, which is good. You select who is on the right side and who is on the left side, and then you can simply just go over to Kaylee here, for example, and we can transfer over some food, cardboard boxes, herbal remedies, until we're no longer quite as overloaded as we were a moment ago. Empty jars, which do have a value. Okay, now you've got a little bit of load weight on you, so let's bring this over to Lucy Lee instead. You've got a little bit of weight on you. Until I'm hopefully not completely... Oh, well, there we go.
Of
course.
A bit of an auto-balance system would be nice, and a transfer everything of a certain thing would be even nicer. For example, when you're back at home base, it would be really nice to arrive and simply go, okay, send all of my health stuff over here, or donate all of my construction materials, and so on. That would be really nice, and save quite a bit of time of hassling through the UI system. So, let's get moving back to our base. The game is also supposed to have a leveling up system in classic RPG fashion. I've yet been able to access it. I'm not sure if it's because it's not in the game at the moment, or because you can only actually engage with it in your base. So I guess we're going to find that out at the end as well. This has also completed a mission which will increase my reputation with the faction over at the courthouse, but we shall ignore that for now and simply head to the shelter. As you move around the world, time will of course pass, and the time that passes will also deplete your food, your health, your material, and all of this back at your shelter here. Let's see, is there anything that looks like a leveling up menu at the shelter here, I wonder? There are the perks, including of course my immunity. Choose perk, none. Choose perk, none. Leveling up? Anything? Not that I can see. Well, if it is in here somewhere, I can't find it. But there is a leveling up system. I've seen the screenshots of it. So there is a leveling system planned. That was one of my complaints before I found the roadmap thingy, because a game like this really does need a leveling up system for obvious reasons. Because as you're killing bunches of stuff, it's nice to feel rewarded for, well, you know, killing a bunch of stuff, and thus getting better at killing a bunch of stuff, as you've got your usual little stat block, like ability points, HP, stamina, dexterity, agility, strength, endurance, marksmanship, excuse me, and intelligence. This is also, again, where you can hand over your stuff. Like, for example, you've got the entertainment vendor, Ellen. So when we go over to her, we can donate to her any entertainment stuff that we might have on us, like these magazines, for example. So you'll see we are producing 5 a day. We are consuming 30 per day. People around here are vociferous readers, and they too, just like in Project Zomboid, simply eat the magazines once they're done with them. We approve donation. And you've also got a building menu where you can build the various things to upgrade, like the reading room or the jail, morale plus 10 a day, because you can simply get rid of the troublemakers and lock them up in the slammer for a little bit. You've also got buildings for medical, for recovery, or recycling, that'll be the word, for defenses, for food, and for electricity and power, and all these things you will be going through. At a rapid clip, mind you. I think when I arrived here, this commune was about 14 hours away from starving to death, which I feel as if the previous leadership had done a particularly poor job of getting ready for any incoming disasters. Hell, they'd done a particularly bad job of getting ready for tomorrow, regardless of a zombie apocalypse, but details. So, in conclusion then, as I waffled off for plenty long, the game is a little bit basic. It's definitely a more of an indie-style game, although they have a publisher, so they're not strictly speaking indie, but a smaller developer. The combat is fairly simplistic, it's point and click. The cover system is intriguing. I would like to see them do more with it, particularly considering as right now, the only way to really hit into something is to nozzle your gun barrel up towards their neck and pulling the trigger at point-blank range, but that will probably change with optics and more high-powered weapons. After all, we're using 22s and crossbows here, so bear that in mind. I would like to see a bit more of focus on the regional damage system as well, as that's a very good idea, and I want to see more of it, particularly as, again, the problem is it's virtually always better to just kill your enemy instead of wounding them, as a wounding enemy can hit you back, a dead enemy, of course, cannot. The story is solid so far. It's got a bit of moral grey areas, and there doesn't appear to be anyone who is blatantly in the wrong or blatantly in the right. Even the cultists have a fairly decent-ish argument for what they're doing. I mean, they can actually control the zombies. That's a pretty convincing argument in a zombie apocalypse to be able to not get eaten by the undead, after all. Oh, and get a load of this. You can select male or female in character creation rather than body type A and B. I know that's largely an irrelevancy, but these days and age, I feel like pointing it out, honestly. And the game overall's got a very nice, Walking Dead combined with Wasteland style vibe to it, which I do quite enjoy. It could be a bit more polished here and there, certainly, but for an initial product like this, it's quite solid. The early access thing is always a little bit of a negative, but hey, what doesn't get released into early access these days? So, if you are interested in a nice zombie survival RPG with some decent characters that don't have enough stuff to them, I would like to have more conversations between your characters, a little bit of banter, voice acting, of course, as Kaylee has a lovely southern accent as well, but budgetary restraints, no doubt. But again, if you're interested in that sort of thing, then definitely check the game out, and there will be a link in the description below, provided I've remembered to put it there. Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I do hope to see you all again soon. Have a good day.